So the tweet from about 10 minutes ago from Nikki Jabvala from the Washington Post. Wow, Johnny Newton activated off NFI after passing his physical. So Johnny Newton, a guy who, was recently placed on the NFI, the non-football injury list, which you can be taken off of, during training camp, he's been activated.
Yep.
Which is a little bit surprising.
He's ready to go.
And a good positive development for the second-round rookie.
Yep.
Well, it's huge because their expectations for him, if he's healthy, are through the roof.
They feel like they stole him in the second round at 36 pick, right? And we were talking about Fedarian Mathis, who they drafted in 22 in the second round, and he just has not been able to stay healthy. Now you take another defensive tackle in this past year's draft, Johnny Newton, also in the second round, and they're sitting right there behind Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. And you kind of wonder what the future is for a guy like Jonathan Allen, since they're taking these second-round DTs, and Johnny Newton has a lot of praise.
I'm a little bit surprised.
They're kind of counting on him.
I'm a little surprised it happened this quickly, but Adam Peters was asked about Johnny Newton during the presser, along with Dan Quinn yesterday. Here's what he had to say.
Johnny's been outstanding in his rehab, and we've had to hold him back. Nice catch. We really had to hold him back. Like he's a monster, and he wants to go, and we got to make sure to reel him back. That's the type of guy he is, and so we've been really pleased with his progress. We put him on NFI. I think we're just going to exercise caution. We're not playing any games anytime soon, but we expect it to be sooner rather than later that we release the reins, and we're going to keep an eye on him. Throughout. Like I said, it's July, so we're going to keep an eye on him, but let him develop during training camp as well. He needs to get the reps just like everybody else, and so we're excited where he's at.
I do think that Fedarian Matthews is going to have to Matthews is going to have to make this football team.
Sounds like it.
He's going to have to make this football team.
I mean, when you spend a second-round pick on Johnny Newton that plays the same position, does the same thing as you, but he does it at a much higher level. He does it better.
And
he better flash in this training game.
Yeah. And you got Allen and Payne ahead of you.
Or else he's going to be looking for a new gig.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. They're expecting big things from him.
I mean, watching the Johnny Newton highlights on YouTube, that dude he's
dominant.
He lives in the other team's backfield.
Yeah.
He is just a disruptor and a just massive man.
Well, he was
shocking how quickly he moves from as big as he is.
He was All-American, consensus All-American. He was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he was just dominant. And, Illinois struggled offensively, so they relied on their defense. But, yeah, I mean, you got to be excited for him if he's going to be healthy, especially at that position. So that's good news for the Commanders that Johnny Newton is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, and the fact that you have Payne and Allen there, it's not like you're throwing him to the wolves as a rookie where you're expecting him to play, however 70% of the snaps, if not more. You can ease him in when those guys need, a little bit of rest on the sideline. You plug in a fresh Johnny Newton that's healthy now. That's a great development.
We just got to make sure that some of these guys that we brought in to provide some pressure from the outside live up to expectations.
Sure. You need Dorrance Armstrong to get into double-digit sacks. You need Dante Fowler to do some work there, too.
I need Jamin Davis to flash and have a shocking season in many people's minds. I need him to flash in a pass-rushing
He needs it,
role.
too. If he wants to
this
get
is
a
make or break
deal.
year for him.
It's a huge year for him.
It's a make or break.
They have every reason to try to if he put it this way, if Jamin Davis fails, he only has himself to blame because I know they're going to give him every opportunity to get on the field and demonstrate that he deserves to be here long term.
Right.
I know they're going to give him an opportunity.
And if he's just a pass rushing specialist and that's what Dan Quinn is going to turn him into,
fine.
Do that.
That's fine. You have to be great.
If that's what he is, if he's not really just like a linebacker, if he's just a guy that's going to chase the quarterback and terrorize the quarterback,
do that.
That's a good asset to have. That's what you can develop him into.
He's my X factor.
And Dan Quinn talked about that during the presser yesterday, is that they're into finding what guys do well and just drilling down on that.
Right.
Let's major in what these guys do well instead of what they don't do. Focus on the positives.
And Ron and Del Rio couldn't figure that out.
No.
Now, maybe you can blame the coaches, but also have to blame the player because he was a high draft pick. The guy's a first-round draft pick, and he just didn't step it up and play like a first-round draft pick. But yeah, big year for him, big. But if Joe Witt finds out that that's his specialty, getting after the quarterback, then he'll be an asset.
Do you want to make a bold, bullish prediction on Jamin Davis sack numbers?
No, I don't because I just don't know. I mean, I just don't know. I put it this way. Here's the number for me that I think he's capable of, like 8. Like I think that's a reasonable number. If he plays and they feature him a little bit,
right?
He should be able to get to the quarterback like 8 times. But if they never play him, well, it'll never happen. But there's just too much athleticism to have him just stand on the sideline.
He's played in 45 games. He's gotten to the quarterback 7 times.
Yeah. They didn't feature him that way.
Right.
They had him running all over the field, like a chicken with his head cut off. Just say, hey, go get that guy. That guy with the ball?
Yeah.
Under center? Go get that guy.
I still have a hard time comprehending how Ron and Jack Del Rio, who are both linebackers by trade, couldn't figure out how to put their linebacker, their first-round linebacker, in the best spots to be impactful.
I don't know.
Now, maybe more of it, maybe a lot of it's on the player and less on the coaches.
He did
I don't
make
know.
more plays this past season than he had in previous years, but that's not saying much.
Right.
But he did make some more plays. He was kind of the Johnny Davis of the Skins
comp
for a couple years.
Yeah. Not the comp you want.
It's funny when, these are just people's opinions when they're doing these rankings, these lists, in the middle of July. But the most recent overall roster talent rank that the Commanders had, I think it was on CBS Sports. They had them ranked 30 out of 32.
For this year?
For this year.
Yeah.
So the overall roster, they ranked them all. And they had, I think they had San Francisco 1 or maybe, Philly or someone like that. But considering they brought all of these different guys in and they made some pretty good draft picks, there's still some people who think this overall roster sucks. When I look, and it's just on paper, but I look at the defensive line, if Allen and Payne can play like they did 2 years ago, they stepped back a little bit last year. But they were playing a ton of plays, remember? Every time we talked to Jonathan, we were asking how many plays he was in. He's like, I'm playing a lot of plays. But now they draft Johnny Newton, and they bring in Dorrance Armstrong, and they bring in Farrell, and they bring Dante Fowler, who's a vet. Fowler was the 3rd pick in the draft. So in his prime, he was very good. But I think they got a lot of depth there, and they're relying on the young guys. But I think the defensive line could be pretty damn good.
I'm with you.
Could be a strength.
Could be.
And they clearly overhauled the linebacker room.
Linebackers.
Seems like a massive improvement. If Frankie Louvu is as good as Build and Bobby Wagner still has something left.
Of course he has something left. He had 160 tackles.
Then that front 7 should be pretty good.
When that should make Emmanuel Forbes a little bit better.
I got questions about Forbes, man. Ever since I saw him with the stick figure legs, that picture,
I know, but
I'm shook. I'm shook by that image.
That shouldn't matter.
And
he's a tough kid.
He was a Ron pick.
Yes.
So the fact that he was a Ron pick,
that hurts
I raise my eyebrows.
Yeah.
I raise all the eyebrows because he was a Ron pick.
Yeah.
Coupled with the fact that there was news coming out of Patriots camp that, is it Christian Gonzalez? Am I getting the name correct?
Yes.
The pick that went right after Forbes is turning heads. Second year.
Yeah, he had a good year last year.
So, again.
And then, by the way, there's a reason they took a corner in the second round of this draft.
Well, they need depth.
I'm just saying. I think there's a reason.
I think they were unhappy with St. Juice. I think St. Juice is going to bounce back, too. I have a little bit of faith in him. Maybe this is blind homerism, but I have a little bit of faith in St. Juice. I think it's more based on what I've seen him do at this level. Forbes is more of just a hope. And I felt like Forbes did play better when he got that second chance.
When he's not getting isolated on A.J. Brown,
but everyone
tend to perform better.
Everyone struggles against A.J. Brown.
I mean, he's a top 5 receiver.
Yeah.
But especially a guy who weighs about $180 is going to struggle against A.J. Brown
when
he doesn't have help.
Weighs 120 pounds. Of course he was going to struggle. That was inevitable. I mean, it's almost unfair.
I think I weighed what Forbes weighs now in 8th grade. I'm pretty sure. He's so skinny. Right. The guy still needs to add some weight, obviously.